So back. After a tough week, Bitcoin is showing signs of strength ahead of the Fed meeting on Wednesday. Uptober could be back on. Keep it to yourself. Privacy coins are in the spotlight as Zcash's crazy run continues. We look at what's driving this narrative and which other tickers might be worth watching. Where next? As the market recovers, thoughts are turning to which narrative may be the next to run hot. Well, we have one prediction in that regard. And a look at last week's big winners, dates for your diary, tweets of the week, TA with Lewis, an update on our portfolio giveaway, and much more besides. This is the Coin Bureau News, live. Yes, welcome people of Earth. This is indeed the Coin Bureau News, and we are indeed live. My name is Guy, and I am joined as ever by my colleague Nick. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. Touched some grass this weekend.
You
manifest,
did?
Yes, I did.
That's not like you.
I know. Well, it helped manifest some green candles over the weekend. Right?
Okay.
So I should do it more often.
You took one for the team, in other words.
Yeah.
You managed to tear yourself away from working for a few precious hours to pump everyone's bags.
Exactly, yeah.
That's
doing my deed for the community.
That's very good of you, Nick. That's very good of you. We appreciate it. Yes, it is good to see green candles returning. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, given everything that's gone on this month. But yeah, certainly we're in a lot better position than we were last week. So we're going to dig into that. We're also, as I said, going to be digging into privacy coins and the next hot narrative as well. Because if you're not looking ahead in crypto, you're basically not.
You got to be 3 steps ahead, man.
Yeah, if you're not looking ahead, then you've already fallen behind.
Yeah.
But before we get going, please do hammer that like button. Get an actual hammer if that's what it takes, and hammer it.
The bell as well. There we go.
And the bell too, for good measure. And then if we get to 1,000 likes, what should we do for the good people, Nick?
I think a portfolio discussion is long overdue.
Okay.
If we are thinking about repositioning anything, given that, we're going into Q4 now, we're in Q4 now to see where things are going. It seems like we are now having an Uptober, albeit a little one so far. So yeah, we'll be doing that at the end if we hit the 1,000 likes. So you guys know what to do. Smash that like button. As well, we'll also at the end of the stream be doing the portfolio giveaway competition where you guys will be voting on the next coin we buy in the Coin Bureau portfolio. More about that coming soon.
Absolutely. Yes. We will have some things for you to vote on very shortly. Crypto Night, thank you. Guy looks hanging again. What do you mean again? What? I look fine. I actually had a very chilled weekend, I have to say. So I don't know where that's coming from.
I'm the one that's looking.
Yeah, Nick's the one who's been out touching grass, whatever that means. Anyway, let's have a look at what Bitcoin did, Nick.
Yeah, so let's rewind back to Monday last week. If you'll recall, last weekend it was looking kind of dicey on the weekend.
Yeah.
But then we did start recovering over Sunday evening. And what that usually means is we then tend to open up a CME gap, which we did last. There we go. There is me.
Someone has literally just posted that in the comments about 2 seconds before you said it. It's great. We're becoming predictable.
I love watching CME gaps, man. There's nothing more I love to do than watch the charts because I hate having gaps in my charts, and that's usually what happens on a Sunday evening in the central time. Mm-hmm. So we did open up a small gap, small one at 107K, but it's important because we'll come back to why in a bit. Mm-hmm. Tuesday, Bitcoin dropped to around 107K. There we go, intensifying. Heavy breathing intensifies. There was a lot
of low sentiment around that, wasn't it? Because I think people had thought like, okay, we're getting a bit of a recovery. Oh no.
That came on Tuesday itself because funding rates had collapsed as traders were started shorting, so that we can see over here. The funding rate on Binance was negative for a few days, so people were short in this market, which therefore means if lots of people are short in the market, this is potentially positioning for a short squeeze. So when everyone bets against a recovery, that's usually a sign when it starts. And we did indeed have, and also I will note that gold price last week had a massive collapse. There we go. Crypto gold's looking away.
Yeah.
Gold basically shot up, and that actually is the ratio of Bitcoin to gold chart. And you see it shot up above that descending trend line we've been going on over the past few months.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. Maybe a little bit of a rotation going on.
Okay, that's good.
We did indeed have that massive short squeeze, but then collapsed just as quickly, forming what's known in technical analysis as the BART formation. Again.
Yes. Just when people are in danger of taking technical analysis seriously, we're reminded that the Bart Simpson is an actual pattern.
It is an actual pattern, yes, noted. And it was driven by, guess what? The collapse was driven by, guess what?
Enlighten me, Nick.
There we go.
Yes.
The one and only, the tweet. His much-awaited meeting with Mr. Xi Jinping, President Trump's meeting with Xi Jinping, may not happen, quote.
So the tariff dance.
Tariff dance, exactly, as per usual. And what's hilarious, well, not hilarious if you were caught either long or short, because both leverage traders on the long and short side were liquidated on that day.
Okay.
It'd be really unlucky. Imagine you basically went short and then you got hit with a long, and then you were liquidated. It's like, okay, I'm going to go short now. I'm going to go long now, and then it goes down again. You were liquidated on both of those.
Yeah. And that was only Tuesday.
That was only Tuesday, guys.
Okay.
That was only
a long
Tuesday.
week, wasn't it? Okay, what happened on Wednesday then?
Guess what, guy?
Okay. Was it something to do with perhaps closing a CME gap?
There we go, man.
Boom.
Wick down, very close the gap.
Okay.
I told you it's relevant.
Well, it's relevant because it happens.
It happens, man.
It happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is why I'm on to them. I don't do this for nothing, guys. Come on. I mean, we're all in this market to make some money, you know?
Absolutely.
So we ranged a couple of hours throughout the day on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, pretty big news, actually. So this was Trump pardoning CZ, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, the market kind of pumped on this. And I think then everyone sort of went, well, why exactly?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
why are we pumping again, guys? Why are we pumping again?
Yeah, it's like, this is a story. This is basically a story from last year.
We're not supposed to pump BTC. We're supposed to pump BNB. Sorry, wrong ticker. Let's go back.
Well, it was certainly good news. Again, it kind of shows that Trump is a friend of the crypto industry. That's for sure.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Certainly didn't go down too well in non-crypto circles. I saw a lot of talk from TradFi people that said this is not good.
But it was a long lobbying campaign by Binance, so it happened. Either way, some other good news on Thursday was that JP Morgan said that QT, or quantitative tightening, could finish as soon or end as soon as this week. So this week coming.
Okay.
And then we got even more good news. And guess what? The meeting's back on. Off on.
This is just crazy, isn't it? Whoever the sort of diplomats or like civil servants behind the scenes having to organize all this stuff, they must have a tough job, mustn't they?
I mean, definitely. Especially the latest. You see the latest one where he put tariffs on Canada again because of an ad with Reagan.
Yeah. He didn't like the ad, so tariffs go back on. It's hard keeping up with this stuff. Okay, which took us to Friday.
Friday, we had CPI numbers come out, and these came in cooler than expected.
Okay,
which of course led to a pump in the price of Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. So that was on Friday. Ended up a good week on the weekend, and then today overnight we started breaking out. Given the good news again that a trade deal with China looks like could be coming close.
Okay.
But the market's pumped, and we are officially back in Uptober. There we go. 0.7%. It's not big, but it's something. Right?
It's a start. I mean, to be fair, like as much as that is kind of funny, it's also kind of impressive given the wipeout we had on the 10th. I mean, less than 2 weeks ago, was it? No, yes, just over 2 weeks ago. It was as bad as it had got, right? And we have at least recovered from where we were at the end of September.
Made it through the ringer, hey? From October to potentially November. Well, let's see. So what's coming? Firstly, you'll remember I mentioned the negative funding rates that happened on Tuesday. This is an interesting analysis that was done by K33 Research. If you recall last week, I mentioned the example where you have massive deleveraging events and open interest collapses. You tend to have positive performance 180 days post the deleveraging event. This is also relevant because it shows periods in which negative funding rates were negative, average funding rates were negative for more than a week. And we actually had that happen many times in the past. And after those events, you tend to have positive returns 30 days on average, 90 days, and 180 days afterwards. And we did last week breach a negative funding rate for over a week, which means that historically, we could be in for some positive returns over the next few months. So that's some hopium for you guys.
Okay. History doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme.
It does rhyme, indeed. And it's going to be a super busy week on the data front. Earnings and all of that. We'll be getting to that a bit later in the stream. But to look at a quick few charts on the daily, this is the Bitcoin chart on the daily. Now you'll see we broke through the October high, which was a resistance zone before. resistance level. And we are also now above the 100-day moving average, which is great. And we're potentially going towards the 38.2% Fibonacci retracement level, which is 116.5K. And we on, so this is all looking good on the daily. However, guess what happened over the weekend again, overnight? Guess what happened?
Now, this being unique, I mean, it can only be, there we are, CME gap.
That's a bit of a stuck record, aren't I, guys?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would be giving you more crap about it, but as we point out, they keep closing, so it's a thing. It's a thing.
And it's a big one, right? So this one we've got from 111 to 113.5K. So although I'm bullish about the day on the daily chart, I will note that there is that CME gap, and they haven't always closed. It's not 100% hit ratio, but especially over the past 4 or 5 months, they've been closing. And so you're all about probabilities. We're trying to get to the highest probability setups when you come to trading.
Okay.
But of course, if you guys want actionable daily trading advice and videos, then we want you, of course, to check out the Coin Bureau trading channel, which we'll pull up on the screen there. And we actually have a new trader and streamer over there. This is Jordan, aka Jordan Crypt. He's another trader who has actually participated in esports trading competitions.
That sounds intense.
Intense, yeah. And he's also guides numerous traders in whale groups. And he's got his latest video is on why ETH could hit $16,000 this cycle.
Okay.
And it's not just hopium, not just like most crypto YouTubers will throw out a number and hope we reach it. But he's obviously broken it down in terms of technicals and Fibonacci mathematics of why ETH hitting 16K this cycle is realistic. So I won't say more. You guys go and check the video yourself to form your own opinions. But welcome to Jordy over there on the Coin Bureau Trading.
Yeah, great to have him on the team. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, let's have a look. Sentiment generally seems to be pretty good. There are some big predictions out there. Someone who's obviously got a big bag of Zcash is saying Zcash to 200K.
Wow,
that's the sort of bullishness we like to see. Keeps format is as bullish as ever. USDT to $5.
Can we go long USDT? Leverage 100x trade on USDT.
Absolutely. And there are also, did you know there's a Luis on the team as well here? Luis, yes.
Have we hired someone I didn't know about?
As says, Luis is the only reason to watch this meme bot channel now. Free Luis, let us go with him.
Luis.
I haven't seen Luis. There is a Lewis last time I checked, but not a Luis.
Lewis, yeah, there's no Luis.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're probably watching the wrong channel, mate.
so
and you need to work on your spelling as well.
Luis?
So your troll game isn't good, bro. You got to work on your spelling, you know.
Lots of talk about the CME gap. Cultivate crypto CME gaps are like the boogeyman. Mind the gap, someone else is saying. And someone with a lot of A's in their name is saying, Benjamin Cowan says we either pump now or in December.
So basically November.
Okay. If Ben has his way. Let's see. Okay, let's talk about, well, we mentioned Zcash just there, so I think that segues us quite nicely into privacy coins, right?
Indeed it does. And what a resurgence have we seen with Zcash. Now take a look at this chart. This is just the past 3 months. Yeah, well, I mean, that's if you hold ZEC, you know,
yes.
So that meme is only relevant if you hold ZEC. But up 546% in 3 months.
Wow. I mean, that is, obviously this is why we're in crypto, isn't it? Because we can get these sort of pumps. But I mean, that is wild.
That is wild. And look at the long-term chart, actually.
I mean, that is a real rocket launch.
It's basically like in a coma for a few months and then basically, whoop, I'm alive again. You know? What's that thing behind? What's the watermark there? Is that a watermark?
Yeah, I can't make out who it is on the watermark, though.
Isn't that guy from Friends? Oh, Ross.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I'm not sure what Ross from Friends has got to do with Zcash, but
he's shield the transactions.
that's how Ross from Friends rolls. So that's all we need to know. Okay. So it's just
clearly someone on Coin Bureau production team is a fan of Friends.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay. I wonder what Rachel's been buying. All right. So
Monero.
In case anyone is unfamiliar with Zcash, this is a project that's been around for a long time and actually has some technology, privacy technology that was kind of talked about in the early days of Bitcoin. Satoshi talked about maybe using ZK proofs.
It was, yeah.
But yeah, what can you give us a bit of a rundown on Zcash?
Yeah, so it's a privacy-focused cryptocurrency which was launched in 2016. And it was developed by the Electric Coin Company, which is led by computer security expert Zuko Wilcox.
Okay. And it's using, ZK snarks, zero-knowledge snarks, which is a form of zero-knowledge proof. And this enables shielded transactions that protect user privacy. So it basically allows people to transact on the blockchain, but privately.
Exactly. Now the question is, this rally, is this a real rally or a speculative, or could be something else be going on? Fundamentally, there's a few things one can point to. So it's largely due to, on the fundamental side, regulatory pressure in Europe under the new MiCA framework, which actually aims to ban privacy coins like Zcash by 2027.
Okay. Because, privacy coins are, governments, regulators don't really like them for obvious reasons.
Yeah, exactly. They're public enemy number one. And in fact, many exchanges have been forced to delist Zcash as well as other privacy coins.
Yeah. There's also been a few people talking about it. Mert, the CEO of Helios Labs, big Solana infrastructure company, he's been talking about it a lot. And in fact, he was on the chopping block last week. They had a very interesting discussion. He had an interesting discussion with the guys there about Zcash, which is worth checking out. And then Naval Ravikant has also been talking about it. And Naval isn't really a sort of crypto guy. I mean, he's a sort of general kind of internet wise man.
Yeah, he's a VC, well-known VC and thinker. So that, I think, had a lot to do with it. And it's interesting he chose Zcash. But there's also new integrations and listings. For example, we had on the trading and liquidity provider side on Solana's Orca, which is powered by Near Intense. Yeah. And this is a big win for DeFi accessibility for Zcash.
Okay. There's also a Grayscale Zcash Trust, not surprisingly, given that Barry Silbert's in charge there. Oh no, it's Bitensor. He's a big one. He's a big one on. A ThorSwap integration as well, and then the Zashi wallet, which we've mentioned a few times. Again, this is making use of Near Intense as well. But this Zashi wallet seems to have been gaining a bit of traction.
It has, yeah, indeed. Yeah. In terms of potentially the price action itself, it's relatively easier to pump a price like of ZEC because it doesn't have that many exchange listings for liquidity as many of the other coins. So that could be the reason. And then of course, it's because it's a privacy coin, some that have been moved with shielded transactions. There's not full transparency in terms of the supply, the liquid supply. So that could have an impact, which some people have pointed out. But now that's Zcash. So now many people are wondering, what's the beta play? What's the next privacy coin that could pump? And A16Z, which is Andreessen Horowitz, actually released a report last week called the State of Crypto Report. And they said that privacy is one of the strongest narratives, and it's more urgent than ever. And they mentioned Zcash as well as another cryptocurrency, Railgun, which also had a massive rally last week. Just see that pump.
Railgun's been around for a long time as well. I remember we were talking about that a bit in the last cycle. And actually, that A16Z report, we are going to do a dedicated video on that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think so. I think we're working on that at the moment. That'll be coming out soon. So stay tuned for that. But yes, so there are the privacy thing is gaining a lot of traction as a narrative. I think there's actually been some quite interesting discussion at the moment because the UK is now sort of talking about ID cards again. And I think now, obviously, there's lots of, state surveillance is not something that's unique to the UK. But I think a lot of people are beginning to wonder, how private, is my money. And I think a lot of people realizing that Bitcoin isn't quite as private as people would like.
Yeah, indeed. Everything you do is tracked and can be viewed forever in a completely transparent ledger. And not only that, I mean, if you have digital IDs and CBDCs and all the other dystopian stuff that people think is coming in the future, are privacy coins your exit valve from that? We'll have to see. But there are many other OG cryptocurrencies and privacy coins. Perhaps one of the best known is Monero, XMR. So this uses ring signatures, stealth addresses, and ring confidential transactions to fully obscure transactions. And it remains the top privacy coin and is up 121% this year.
Okay, good old Monero. We also have Oasis Network, Rose. This is another layer one focused on privacy and ownership using confidential computing and secure enclaves.
Secure enclave sounds very secure, guys. There's nothing more secure than an enclave, bro.
Yeah. And this lets users control or indeed monetize their data.
Yep.
And Oasis Network has been around for quite a long time.
It has as well, yeah. And then another one that's been around for quite some time, and this is one that implements and utilizes smart contracts as well. I think it's built on Cosmos, if I believe, is Secret Network, SCRT. And it enables privacy-preserving smart contracts via encryption, allowing dApps to process private data securely, and it targets confidential computing use cases.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, I think that obviously, as we've seen, narratives tend to sort of run hot for a little while and then burn out. But it's been fascinating to see Zcash consistently pump. I mean, I think it's one of last week's top gainers, I think, for about the third or fourth week in a row.
It's crazy. Everyone's piling into Zec, man.
Yeah.
It's definitely a bit of a FOMO trade going on.
Yeah.
But if you guys are looking to trade any of these privacy coins, there's no better place to do that than on a BitGet, which has all of these coins. And we have, as mentioned at the top of the stream, a competition currently running on a BitGet where we are going to be giving away a portfolio that we have right now, the Coin Bureau portfolio that's currently got 5,000 USDT or 5,005 USDT because of the SUI trade last week. And slightly up. Whoever you chose SUI, it wasn't the best trade, but whatever.
I think we're actually slightly down. Yeah. Not quite 5,000 USDT.
The MO of this is it's a competition where you guys in the stream will be able to vote on coins we trade every single week or enter into a trade every single week. And then we do this for 3 months. And then at the end of the quarter, we will then give away this portfolio to one of our viewers. The only requirement is you, of course, need to be a Coin Bureau viewer on the stream, and you need to have a BitGet account so we can send you the funds to your UID. So if you guys don't have a BitGet account yet, you can sign up right now using the QR code on the screen or the link down below. And obviously, you'll also get all the other benefits that come with a BitGet account, including potentially up to $50,000 in USDT sign-up bonuses and all the other benefits that come with like AI trading bots, deep liquidity, lots of spot pairs. And now this then kicks off the first poll, right?
Yep.
And this poll is going to be an option between 4 coins, which we should be buying at the end of the stream. And they are Link, Chainlink, Virtual, Hype, and XRP.
Okay.
So let your votes be known. Speak now or forever hold your peace. And we will come back in the next in about 20 minutes or so, close the poll, and then decide on how much allocation to put into the portfolio.
Absolutely. Okay, so Link, Virtual, Hype, or XRP. Get voting now. Don't forget to keep bashing that like button as well. 30% there. We can do better than that, guys.
They're not really interested in the portfolio alpha, are they?
It seems not. It seems not. Okay, so we've talked about privacy coins, and this is a narrative that is kind of kicking off right now. But as I said earlier, you need to be looking ahead in crypto, and there is a narrative that a lot of people seem to believe is the next big thing. People have been talking about it a lot.
Yeah, I predict it could be the really big thing.
What could it be?
Strong prediction on this one.
Yeah. Okay. So, in case you haven't got the fairly heavy hints already, this is prediction markets. Now, if you've been on the timeline at all, if you've spent any time on crypto Twitter, you'll have seen a lot of speculation about this. Obviously, Polymarket has been a thing for a while now. And it was about this time last year, wasn't it, as we were heading into the election, that Polymarket was really starting to gain some traction, obviously with all the voting around the election result there, and the fact that then Polymarket actually called it correctly.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a really big sort of moment for it. And it's only continued since then. It seems to be going from strength to strength. A lot of people predicted that maybe after that peak of the election, it would kind of fade out. But it does seem to be keeping on going. And there are inevitably quite a lot of competitors out there at the moment. And some have said this is perhaps one of the best examples of product market fit in crypto since stablecoins. So we've got to talk about it. Yeah,
100%. Now, in terms of the excitement for Polymarket, let's just look at this. This is the growth in Polymarket and Cashy volumes over the past few months. And 2 weeks ago, get this, Polymarket raised at a valuation of $8 billion with a $2 billion investment from the NYSE owner.
Right.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Last week, they apparently are seeking valuation, investments for a valuation of 15 billion.
Wow.
So in the private markets, in about a week's time, they've almost managed to double their valuation.
That is crazy. Shane Copland there, the CEO, is, I think, the world's youngest billionaire. Or certainly America's youngest billionaire.
Or self-made, right?
Self-made, yeah. Yeah, he hasn't inherited it.
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't inherited it,
which is pretty darn impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, so why all this sudden interest? As I said, Polymarket is not exactly new. It's been around for a while now, if you can call over a year a while. So what's driving it, Nick? Why is it suddenly commanding this massive valuation?
Well, I mean, for one, there's regulatory wins. So the CFTC rulings on election contracts, Polymarket's US re-entry, and then VC confidence are driving mainstream acceptance of this.
Okay.
And
yeah, as we saw, the volumes didn't fade after the US election. It kind of kept going, but it kind of shifted, didn't it? So it opened markets for sports, economics, cultural events, and I mean this is kind of its edge, isn't it? Because sports betting is nothing new, and you have been able to kind of bet on various other things, but never at this sort. I mean, there are markets for just all sorts of things, aren't there?
I'll bet you there's a market on what Guy will say in this stream.
Maybe
there should be.
A friend of mine lost quite a lot of money betting on who the next James Bond might be.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not because it was announced, but because the market actually ran out.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of stuff there, and we are living in an increasingly kind of gamble-fied world.
Oh yeah. And a quote from someone from Associated 1KX, which is a VC fund, a quote, the sustained interest has given newfound confidence to many VCs about investing in the market. But those are obviously the VCs, the insiders, the people who have access to the private markets and can invest in the likes of Polymarket at these massive valuations. The most important question for us in the retail crowd, the plebs.
When token? Yes. So there's been a speculation for a long time now about when or if Polymarket is going to drop a token. And they certainly are. This has just recently been confirmed, right?
Yeah, indeed. So this is from the CMO who confirmed it last week. And I also think that I personally wrote a tweet about this. I think that Polymarket is now basically going to be the becoming the social layer for crypto speculation, essentially, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's going to allow people to get closer to the real source of truth. When you think about how if the insiders have information and they're betting on a market, it's going to reflect real time in the actual price of the shares on Polymarket. So it's equalizing the playing field.
So it's basically an opportunity for insiders to sort of covertly tell people what they think.
Exactly. And other people who are watching this move basically profit on it as well. So it's interesting.
So, of course, this will take the form of an airdrop. I guess, people who've been using the Polymarket platform up to now. As with airdrops, we don't really know anything at this stage. The determining factors, the qualifying factors, if you like, haven't been disclosed yet. Meanwhile, there's also speculation, Kalshi, which is Polymarket's big rival. It's not its only rival, but it's kind of nearest rival. There is speculation around a possible token there as well, but nothing has been confirmed on that front yet.
Yet. But are there any other opportunities for tokens currently in the market? Right now there are, but these tend to be the slightly older, quote, dino coins.
Right.
But yet what we saw with DeFi recently, it could translate for the prediction market sector. So all of these may be worth noting, and infra plays are interesting here, especially for prediction markets. And one is Augur or Rep. It's an OG decentralized prediction market on Ethereum, and users create and bet on events. And they're recently testing algorithmic forks for better dispute resolution. The market cap is about $50 million, but it's up 150% recently. So,
gosh, Augur's been around for a long time.
Man, 2017. I think it was the original, the OG.
Is it 2017? It feels like it's older than that. But
maybe you're right. Yeah.
We'll check. But I mean, yeah, it's certainly been around for a while. Another one is Gnosis. The ticker for that is GNO. Now, this builds prediction tools like Omen, which is conditional tokens for events. It integrates with DeFi. So this is kind of another infrastructure play, if you like. And it's often mentioned alongside Rep for Oracle-powered markets. Market cap of around $500 million, and an established player with real-world event bets. So crypto's kind of been doing this or experimenting with this meta for a while. And now sort of Polymarket has come out. Polymarket, I guess, it is a crypto app in that you need crypto to use the platform. But it does seem to be sort of bleeding over into kind of Web 2 as well, doesn't it? So yeah, it's interesting to see that, this hasn't come out of nowhere. Crypto's been kind of working on this, but obviously now it's starting to make real headlines. And yeah, I mean, you've got to imagine that this Polymarket token, when it comes, is going to be huge.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So I think there's lots of airdrop farmers out there placing lots of bets.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm curious to the viewers, do you guys know any other sorts of tokens or plays that are adjacent to the prediction market that are out there on the small cap or medium cap side? Because I mean, this is what's known. These are like OG coins and stuff. I mean, I know there was Unlimit or something else that was mentioned like last week or something.
Limitless.
Limitless, sorry. Yeah. But yeah, I'm curious if any of you in the comments, you want to drop your prediction picks in the comments. We can come back to it.
Yeah, let us know. I mean, just like the Perpstex thing fairly recently, there are tons sort of beyond what's getting talked about a lot. And sometimes, the real winners are actually the ones that haven't quite, got attention yet. So yeah, do let us know what prediction markets you're keeping an eye on. Are you using any of them as well?
Yeah,
have you been using Polymarket? Because I know, you get the impression that kind of everyone is using it. And there are actually people now who I think are professional Polymarket traders.
Have you placed any bets yet or anything?
No, I mean, I was tempted to get involved on this James Bond one, but I was pleased I didn't, because a lot of them, a lot of the sort of crypto ones are like, well, what price will this be?
Yeah.
Will Bitcoin be? Will Solana be? And I'm sort of like, well, if I want to bet on that, then then I'll buy the coin if I think it's going up. But yeah, it's certainly. I mean, there's kind of almost too much to choose from, I think. And again, like, you look at it, and I mean, the politics one's quite interesting. So you look and it's like, who's going to win, mayor of New York, or some of them are really obscure, like who's going to be the next president of Romania or mayor of Bucharest or something. And you see, and you're sort of like,
obscure, man. That's a crazy mark. I mean,
who is going to be the next mayor of Bucharest? Let us know in the comments. I need to know. I need some Polymarket alpha here. But yeah, it's the sort of thing, again, like you sort of think, well, there must be that topic that someone knows better than anyone else, and that's where you can find the edge.
One interesting market that I've heard about that people said could be underpriced is that presidential, the president of 2028. So who's going to be the president in 2028? And apparently Donald Trump is at like 4% or something very low.
Okay.
I wouldn't bet. It's like it's going to probably increase in price the closer we get, because many people are going to be worried. They hedge in. He'll probably come out and, troll and say he's going to run again. And I think that that's potentially an underpriced market. And then, or you could just pull out and say, you know what, I'm going to become president. Let's change the constitution.
Yeah.
So it could be an underpriced bet, but hey,
Steve Bannon is already talking about it. I don't know whether he's just trying to sort of own the libs and wind up the libs on that one, but it is interesting. Actually, I did think about that, because actually I think the thing that will probably rule him out is that age, because he's getting on, Donald Trump.
I don't know, man. He seems to be, for someone his age, he seems to be quite sprightly, man. I mean, he doesn't get any sleep. He's just all over the show. So
I mean, considering Joe Biden was basically an animated fossil, he's he's doing pretty well, isn't he? But I mean, Biden's only like a little bit older than Trump. The difference is massive. So yeah, who knows? Yeah, keep an eye on Polymarket. Maybe it's gonna tell us the future.
Yep. But if you guys do eventually get that Poly airdrop and that lucrative Poly airdrop, and you want to store your Poly tokens and hodl for life, you want to store it in a cold storage, preferably in a hardware wallet. And this is where this is what you can do with our second brand partner, and this is Tangem. Now, of course, Tangem are the manufacturers of these cool card-based hardware wallets, and it's your all-in-one crypto solution with no seed phrases, middlemen, no compromises. Very simple to use. And we actually have a discount now where you can get 10% on your Tangem device, which is already quite a attractively priced hardware wallet. And if you use the QR code on the screen or or hit the link down below, we'll take you over to go and buy yourself a Tangem device and get that 10% discount.
Yep. Come on, sort out your hardware security, guys. If you haven't done it already, that's a slap on the wrist. You're on the naughty step.
Likes
okay.
40%.
40% at the likes. You guys can do better than that. Let me wave that around to stimulate your.
Where's the animation of guy hammering
clicking finger?
Where's the guy animation hammering the phone? That
usually gets the likes flowing. Okay, let's have a look at last week's top performers then, because we have some interesting ones.
Yeah, indeed. First one is Humanity Protocol. So this is a decentralized.
that chart.
That's organic, man. That's exactly
Totally organic.
It's a decentralized ID and verification tool, and it recently announced a partnership with Walrus Protocol.
Yeah.
But that doesn't fully explain that pump. I somehow don't think that that's just as a result of the Walrus integration.
I mean, that was the only kind of news bit that I could find that maybe, explained it. Obviously, Walrus Protocol is a big player in the SUI ecosystem. But yeah, I mean, that doesn't explain that absolutely monster jump. I mean, that's definitely interesting. Decentralized ID verification. I mean, proof of humanity. That is definitely something that we're going to need increasingly more and more. Okay, next up we have Virtual's protocol. AI agents are becoming a thing once again. Now, there are a couple of reasons I think Virtuals is doing well. The first is that it's kind of got deepening ties with Base and Coinbase. Jesse Pollock has been tweeting about it recently. But also this rather fascinating X402 protocol.
Payment protocol, right?
Yeah. Now, this seems to be reigniting the whole AI agent space, and I think this is something to watch, not least, well, we'll come to this in a moment, but I put together a simplified explanation of X402. It's a new payment protocol that lets AI agents pay for services online instantly without needing accounts, passwords, or human help. And it works by using the web's HTTP system and stablecoins like USDC, so an AI can automatically pay for things like data or APIs or computing power or whatever, like a person would, but faster and cheaper.
That's mad, huh?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
So, I mean, this is, my eyes sort of initially glazed over when I started reading about this, but this is actually a really big leap forward in just making AI agents way more autonomous. Yeah. There's a good breakdown of it by DeFi OX Jeff, which we won't go into here, but pay attention, folks, because CoinGecko has just added an X402 tab to its categories page. So this is potentially a very big upcoming narrative.
Yeah, indeed.
So keep an eye on that. Eigenlayer's intersubjective work token could be Eigencloud. Sorry. Okay, what's next?
Next, well, none other than Zcash. So go back and watch previously. Yep.
I mean, if you're one of those people who held Zcash for basically years when it didn't do anything, you deserve your victory lap.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is Hyperliquid, and Hype, the OG perp dex is, well, not quite the OG, but certainly the market leader perp dex is back. This is on the back of a Robinhood listing. I'm not sure if that's happened yet or if it's about to, but it's also doing some numbers as well. In fact, as this tweeter points out, more than Robinhood.
That's mental.
It's kind of crazy.
It's crazy when you think about it.
And obviously, as we know, Hype has those buybacks and stuff which support the token price. Not a surprise to see Hyperliquid back. And then we also have
Jupiter or Jupe. So it's aiming to become crypto's super app. It's shipping a lot.
Yeah.
Never stop shipping. It's picked up a lot over the week. There we go.
Yeah. I actually downloaded the Jupiter app and had a bit of a play around with it. It looks pretty good.
It's cool.
Yeah. There's a lot of competition.
Beat your MetaMask.
Yes. I mean, that's not difficult.
Low bar there.
Very low bar. But yeah, lots of competition in the crypto super app space as well. Okay, so it is time to close the poll on which coin we're going to buy this week for the portfolio. So can we reveal the winner? What are we buying this week? We're going to be buying Link.
Chainlink. Okay, interesting.
The Link Marines saddled up.
They've won.
Ridden into town.
They've teamed up.
Bash the like button. There we go. All right. So now we need you guys to vote on what sort of allocation of the portfolio we are going to make to Link. What are the options that we've got?
We got 25, 50, 75, 100%. Please don't hate that entire portfolio into Link.
Full port into Link, perhaps. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So yes, you can now vote on what percentage of that portfolio we will allocate to Link. Okay, which brings us nicely to Luis, or Luis, as he's now called. And it's time for some of his TA. So, Luis, take it away.
Charts and trends, he'll show the way. Luis brings the TA today.
Okay, guys, so if we're going to be talking about the charts, the first one we got to be looking at is, of course, Zcash. Zcash, or ZEC, has been on an absolute tear lately. And the crazy thing about this, okay, is that it actually was around a $700 million market cap, 600, 700, $800 million market cap before it actually pumped and did this, crazy run to almost a $6 billion market cap. And it's up, over 800%. And that's just in the last few weeks. I guess it's since September, really. So maybe Uptober is not the case for most cryptos, but it certainly is the case for ZEC. And Zcash just actually broke above its previous all-time highs from May 2021. And because it did that, obviously, it is not a good time to be FOMOing into this coin. But if there's anything that exemplifies what crypto is all about, or I guess what crypto is capable of is the more correct terminology, Zcash is it. Because even though it was already a $700 million market cap, it still went up 8, 9, 10x. And so the lesson for today, guys, is never give up hope and never stop gambling. Not financial advice, but you never know. No, like you never really know. But I guess if you did use technical analysis on Zcash, I mean, I'm looking at this right now for the first time, and I actually see an amazingly good setup. And that is right here. So this is just going to be a little TA lesson for you right now. You could see that Zcash, it was just making lower lows and lower highs consistently, right? Until finally, obviously, it had this huge run up, right? And then it came back down. It came back down to the origin of the move right here, the big support / resistance, how I love to always say, big resistances turn into big supports, right? And it came back down, it bounced up, it came back down again, and it printed, if I zoom in, this really nice, super long wick bullish candle at the bottom near the support, like in the supports. On the weekly time frame, this was back in April, but theoretically, you could have simply gotten in right there when it did that, because it's in an uptrend now, compared to, back here where you don't want to get in, and enough time has passed. So you could have theoretically gotten in there, and, I'm not saying take profits all the way at the previous 2021 highs, but if you really believed in the project, then that would have been a great time to, maybe combine the technical analysis that I'm showing you with the fundamental analysis. And that way you could get a really good entry, and then you could hold it based off of, fundamentals and your core beliefs in the project, right? And you could get, a 10, 11x, right? For me, technically, I probably would have put that trade on and taken my profits over here for 140%. But still, it's pretty cool to know that you can combine, technical analysis with fundamental analysis, or just, your belief in a project, and make some massive gains. But with saying all of that, of course, now it's at the previous all-time highs. Like this is essentially the worst place to buy anything, is at the previous all-time highs. Yeah, that's when you do not want to be buying. That's when everyone should be selling this coin. Obviously, anything could happen. Maybe there's a huge government contract or something that we don't know about, and it's just going to blast right through this and just keep on going up forever. But even if that is the case, the gains are already there. The gains have already been made. You're not going to be making insane gains on this coin anymore, at least not in my opinion. I don't think so. I just think that there's other coins out there that have the potential to do this, where this has not happened yet. So it's why would you chase something that this has already happened when there's other coins that are still down at the lows that you could get into and potentially make 10x gains, compared to this, where, I highly doubt it's going to go up another 10x from here anytime soon, right? And it's at the big resistance, so it's just not a good time to be buying this. Going down into the lower time frames, however, if you want to get it, I would say that somewhere between $275 and $300 is probably the best area to get Zcash, because it's the previous big resistance levels, and it's also the 61.8 golden ratio, and it's somewhere around the diagonal support. So there's a few different things that all come together, and when that happens, we call that confluence in trading. And so there's a lot of confluence around the $280 to $290 area around Zcash. Now, as far as the broader market goes, Bitcoin still has around 1 to 2% to go before it reaches the humongous support resistance flip area at 117,000. Ethereum still has around 6 to 7% before it reaches the bearish order block at around 4,400. Solana still has around 7 or 8% before it reaches the bearish order block at around 216. Hype still has 7 or 8%, but still relatively close to the $50 big resistance area. Same thing with XRP. It's coming pretty close to that big support resistance flip area at at 2.72. On the last stream, I said that I was getting the arrow down here because of the bullish divergences, and it still has around 7, 8, 9% to go before I'm going to be taking my profits at this big resistance trend line. And so overall, I can't really say like right now is the best time to go in. The good time to go in was maybe like a week or two ago. And so now everything pumped, but the risk is just like too high in my opinion. Going through a bunch of different charts, I did see Toshi, which was sort of interesting. I just see that it keeps on making higher lows. So maybe if Toshi comes back down here, this is something that I might be interested in getting into. And so similar to how I saw the bullish divergences on Arrow last week. And so I thought that was interesting. I just think that this is interesting as well. So maybe it's something to research or to look into or to set alerts for. Because you never know what could happen. And this does look like a pretty decent chart, especially just compared to a lot of the other ones. So this is just the last one that I wanted to share. And with that, I'll bring it back to you guys.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Luis.
Thank you, Lewis.
Stroke Lewis. Yeah. Okay. So, yes, some food for thought there. Let's have a look now at some tweets of the week.
Okay. So the first one is from Flows. Now, this is Emperor Osmo, and what he's actually shared is a screenshot of some of the tweets by Eclipse. Now, Eclipse, if you guys don't know, I think it's a Cosmos-based project. They had some bit of a controversy like last year with regards to the previous CEO. But anyways, they've taken their marketing strategy to the next level in terms of shitposting their way to adoption. Things like Eclipse has received 0 user reports of downtime from the AWS outage. To be clear, the chain is definitely down. There's just no one using it.
Is this just the intern going completely rogue?
Yeah, it is. It's easy to hate your competitors, but do you have the courage to hate your community?
Wow. Wow.
So, I mean, he's trying.
State of crypto, late 2025. There we go. Okay, next up we have this one from Penguin Creator. Oh my word! So can you just sell some in case it goes down, then hold the net rest up in case it goes up?
The tweet is sell now and potentially miss out on parabolic gains, or hold and potentially lose most of everything.
Wow. Yes, I think that's how a lot of us are feeling and looking. Okay, we got a real goat for the next one. This is Kobe. What a week he had last week. So Kobe saying, it's only been 3 years since Up Only ended. I was in my 20s when it started. Now I have grey hair. We'll rename it Unk Only, and I will spend $25 million on cosmetic surgery. See you soon. So this is the news. So in case you missed it, last week, Coinbase, they bought Echo, which is the early stage investment platform that Kobe set up, for, I think it was $375 million. And then there was lots of talk about the Up Only podcast, which for anyone who's been in this for a while was an amazing podcast that Kobe and another trader called Ledger used to do in the last cycle, which got discontinued after FTX collapsed. Now, Kobe sold and then put up an NFT for sale for $25 million and said that if someone bought it and burned it, then they would bring Up Only back. And sure enough, Coinbase bought it and burned it. But of course, as people then pointed out, you know, this the news of the NFT being bought and burned came out just before the news about Echo. So obviously, what it seems happened, Coinbase agreed 400 million, but then, you know, the disclosed fee was 375 and they spent 25 million on this NFT, which they then burned. So great news for Kobe, although it means they now have to do more episodes of Up Only, which is great news for the rest of us. So keep a lookout for that. That was a big story last week. And then we also have this tweet here from Scotty V, or Scotty. When precisely did crypto shift from cypherpunk idealism to get-rich-quick scumbaggery?
Oh, man, yeah. This tweet did numbers, hey?
Yeah.
When exactly did it change, Guy? When do you think? When do you think that happened?
Oh, I don't know. Sometime, I guess, I don't know, maybe 2021. I think there was a lot of scumbaggery.
You're telling me the NFT cycle wasn't organic, genuine people caring about the future of the world and the decentralized technology could bring about?
I don't know. Well, maybe it's happened since 2022. I think, it's definitely not what it was. That's for sure. Okay, some dates for the diary and coins to watch, Nick.
So coins to watch. Firstly, on the October, we got Lido version 3 mainnet coming out. So Lido V3 transform Lido from a liquid staking product into a modular, transparent, and institution-grade staking infrastructure platform.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the 3rd of November, we've got Sonic S, which is undergoing a mainnet upgrade. It wants to be compatible with Pectra. So this is going live at 3 p.m. CET.
Okay.
And October 29th, that's a big day. That's Wednesday. That, my friends, is, you got Mr. Powell over there representing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this is the big
dancing to the money printer. There we go. And this is the FOMC day, rate cut day. Probabilities are pretty certain. It locked in. We're going to have a rate cut. But actually, Wednesday and Thursday are going to be very volatile, busy days, because on top of that, we've got earnings coming from 5 of the big tech companies, and these tech companies account for 25% of the market cap of the S&P 500. So this is Microsoft, Alphabet, Meta, Amazon, and Apple, and they all reporting either on Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
And if that wasn't enough, on October the 31st, we've got PCE inflation, or the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index inflation, which is the Fed's preferred inflation measure. That's coming out as well. So many people will keep their eyes on that.
Okay. I presume that will come out because the CPI, because obviously the government shutdown is continuing. But the CPI came out, didn't it?
The CPI came out, although they said, I think the White House said that the next CPI, so the one in next month, won't be coming out if there is still a government shutdown. So, wow. I mean, come on, guys. Yeah. Open that government up. Otherwise, no economic data.
Yeah. So there is a lot of data coming. Obviously, the Fed meeting coming. I think you need to keep an eye on what's happening with Trump and Xi at this trade summit. What, if they sort of patch things up and kiss and make up. And of course, the government shutdown as well, because I think there is talk somewhere that, maybe there are a few things that could bring it to an end. But, whether that happens this week, next week, or next month, who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, let's, before we sign off, get the results of the poll. So we decided that we're going to add Link to the portfolio. In what sort of percentage? What are we going for? 25%, very sensible.
Right.
If
you want into it, guys, you got to save some dry powder for that.
Okay. So let me just bring up my share my screen, and we'll do that now. This is actually a pretty good time to be getting Link because it is one of the more beaten down ones.
It is, and if you guys haven't seen, I did an interview with Sergey Nazarov, so he's the founder of Chainlink, a few days ago. It came out yesterday. And in terms of infrastructure providers in the crypto space, Chainlink is second to none in terms of the amount of integrations it's got going and what it's doing in terms of partnerships, in terms of RWA tokenization, integration, and publishing data on-chain through the Department of Commerce and all these other things that it's bringing to the fore. I think the question is just how, in terms of token utility, it's still kind of like there's questions about that. But yeah, it's an interesting project for sure.
Okay. All right. So we need to take other media off the stream before I can share my screen with that. Okay. Yeah. So let's add that. There we are. So we are going 25% by Link. There we are.
Oh, nice sound. There we go.
Yeah, nice little jingle.
There we go.
Fantastic. Okay, so we will revisit that next week, see how you guys got on. Should we have a quick look through what people are saying as well?
Yeah, let's look at the comments over there.
Okay. I don't know what this means, but I'd be interested to know. Hello, Guy and Wunderboffel.
Wunderboffel.
I'm presuming Wunderboffel is you. Does anyone know? Does anyone speak German and know what Wunderboffel is?
Wunder is wonderful. So I'm going to Google this stuff right now because I want to know.
Okay.
He doesn't tell me it's anything to do with female.
All right. Whilst we wait for that, Guy actually looks half presentable today. Good job. Thank you, Joe. I'm sure Joe's been trolling us before. Someone's saying it's a made-up word. I think it's a good word, Wunderboffel.
Wunderboffel, yeah.
My name is Guy. I'm joined by my colleague Wunderboffel. Good to see you, sir. Okay, what else have we got here? Enjoying the new Coin Bureau Finance, by the way.
It's interesting because we haven't told anyone about that actually, and it seems to have taken the internet by storm.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah. He is. You thought we weren't going to bring the goat out. We'll talk a bit more about Coin Bureau Finance next week, but good to see you guys are discovering it. A few people asking for us to buy coins that weren't actually in the poll. That's why we're not buying them.
Any recommendations for prediction market coins or anything? None?
I haven't seen any.
There?
I haven't seen any. A few people asking about gold. Do we think gold has topped?
That's a really interesting question. I think that it's definitely had lots of signs of froth. When you have people standing around queues for hours to get their gold in all of these gold markets, it seems to have been a lot of froth going on. Now, I guess there's a lot of excitement at the beta plays.
Yeah. Silver's been doing well, hasn't it?
Silver, platinum, actually, as well. Apparently, people are now interested. Now, apparently, the excitement and the mania is going towards platinum, which otherwise no one would have actually cared about, right? Any sort of precious metals. But the hope is that all these gold bugs eventually learn that there is a completely permissionless, transparent, internet digital gold that they can send across borders. Don't have to store in a vault. A lot easier to get access to, and you don't need to queue around the block to buy.
Yes.
And that, of course, is Bitcoin. So I do hope that the rotation starts. And indeed, if you remember the gold chart I pulled up at the beginning of the stream, the Bitcoin gold chart, Bitcoin is breaking out in terms of that trend. So uranium, Einsteinium.
Eric is buying uranium and Einsteinium. I'm not sure what Einsteinium is, but uranium, definitely. I'm on board with that. I actually hold some uranium now.
Uranium. You're storing it yourself. You're storing it at home.
I know.
You're storing uranium.
Got some in the spare bedroom. The wife's hair's falling out, but otherwise everything's fine. So it's all good.
At least you guys will be rich, man.
Okay. Yes, Tom Brown is saying my uranium has done so well. Ben Cowan was doing victory laps about his uranium recently as well. Uranium is the play. Yes,
Ben Cowan is going to transfer into the uranium mine or something, away from the crypto.
He's going to start talking about uranium dominance before very long. Okay, folks, that is it for today. Thank you for joining. Let's hope these green candles continue. I feel one way or another, it's going to be a big week. As Nick said, so much data to watch out for this week, so much happening geopolitically as well. So keep your eyes peeled.
But let's first close that gap, guys. Come on.
Close that CME gap.
Don't
you know what you got to do. And we will be back same time, same place next week. So we'll see you then.
Schrodinger's alt season. We are so back and not so back at the same time.
I had a very strange dream about Nick, myself and my wife. Does Sam really have such a well-groomed beard? The greatest show in crypto, release the boomers, great humor and content, release the boomers.